Okay, today I'm going to show you how to mount a painting from Yupo onto a wooden canvas. This one I get from Jackson's Art online. I ordered them, they're pretty good price, just the Jackson's brand. So this one's 11 by 14 and it's 20 mil thick. And yeah, I find that they're really quite good. So obviously for this, you're going to need a board to mount your piece onto, and you're also going to need a roller, a spatula. I just got this one from the hardware store. I think they normally use it for painting and stuff, scraping. And then the gel, the glue that I'm going to use is a heavy structure gel. I use Galería, Winsor Newton, but any will work. You just want to make sure that it has a really thick structure to it. You want something that's going to be heavy enough to hold that paper down, because it's quite a thick paper. So you got to match the glue with the weight of the paper. You also need a nice big piece of paper and a wet paper towel as well. And then we also need a ruler, pencil, and a blade, just to trim our image down. If your image is perfectly the right size, then amazing. You can skip this part. But for anyone that isn't, I usually just put little arrows or an arrow just to show me where the top is. And then when I am trying to fit it on there, I generally will choose a corner, one side, where I'll match up two edges as best I can. Okay, that's pretty good. I may have to take a little bit off this edge as well, because these boards are not perfect, or you may not have cut your paper perfect or something like that. So then I very carefully turn it over, and using a pencil, I just score in the line along that edge, and the same along this edge. I tend not to cut along the wood. I find that I don't get a very neat edge. If you do, that's awesome, but I will move this out of the way and I'll use my ruler to cut my edge. I just find I get it nice and neat, which is what I want. So I match up ruler with the line best I can and get a nice neat edge. So you want a nice sharp blade. To cut your edges. So then I find where my top is, and then the top on my thing, and measure it again in exactly the same way I did the first time, because you can find that these boards are slightly out by millimeters. So that right edge was what I had flush before. I'm going to make sure that the bottom edge is pretty flush. Yep. See the top? I can take off just a very slight little bit. You can kind of feel with your finger how much it is that you need to take off, and maybe slight on that left hand edge as well. So I'm just going to do that by eye and just take off the skinniest amount. It's better to do it this way than to take too much off, and you can do this a couple of times if you need to. So the skinniest amount taken off there. And then the same on the top. I'm just going to do it by eye. You can try and mark it with a pencil if you need to, but it's just going to be difficult to get right in there where you need to be. should be good. So I'll do another quick check. The top, matching where the two tops are. Again, I can probably take that off that edge there. You can see it just ever so slightly. It's just more towards this end, so. Okay, triple check. Better to check now than after. I just find it too difficult to cut when it's on the board because sometimes you have maybe bits of glue that have come through that you didn't notice. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to put the glue down, my heavy structure gel. I'm just going to get it all out with the palette knife to start with. So next I'm coming in with my big spatula and just starting to spread all of that around. You want to make sure you got it right up to those edges. I'm just spreading it first. Okay, so I now start coming through very lightly with a little bit of pressure, start moving that around. And you're going to start collecting some on your spatula because you're probably, like me, put too much on. But it's better to start off with too much than too little. We don't want it too thick. And then you just end up with a mess because it starts squirting out of the edges everywhere. But you do want a good coat that you're not going to end up with any bubbles anywhere where there's not enough of the glue. So I bring the spatula along the top, almost parallel with the surface, and just lightly bring it along, making sure to get those edges everywhere and the corners. And make sure you put plenty on the corners. So you want to be able to just about see the canvas underneath. So it's just about visible. That's how thin or thick your glue is going to be. You're just starting to see that surface of the wood. Okay, so I think that's good for now. Just going to run my edge along, my finger along the edge even, just to get rid of anything that's made its way over that edge. And then put my lid on this to save it for another time. Then I want to make sure that I find my arrow. So you do have a bit of time to play with this. So my arrow is there, so that's the top. You want to make sure that, it's really important that you make sure you get the top with where you measured and cut with the top of your piece. And then trying to get it in place right first time, but just lightly place it on, and then just run your fingers along the edges, making sure that it's not overlapping or you can't see the board on one of the edges. Just slightly moving it as need be. And then getting your piece of paper, then come in with your roller. Could do with a little greasing, it's a little squeaky. Oops. So I'm pressing quite firm. I want to make sure that they stick together. Just gonna have a quick look, see what's going on under there. Okay, that's good. There's a few little bits of glue coming through or out the edges, so I'm just gonna give that a quick wipe before it gets too messy. And I'm just using a slightly damp towel to run that along the edges. My painting has been sealed. I have sprayed it with UV protection, so I'm not too worried about ruining the painting or anything like that. It's quite safe to put that little bit of water on it. There, making sure I get that glue. I don't want the glue to dry on there, that wouldn't be good. Then keeping this way so that I don't get the glue on there, giving that quick wipe so it doesn't get all over my hands. But now I'm just going to use my hands to get in circular motion, just to try and get it stuck everywhere, because sometimes you can actually feel some of those bubbles, so it's good just to get in with your hand. And press. Having a quick look, see if there's any, you can actually see the bubbles as well, so just give it a quick check. And then running my fingers right along those edges and corners, making sure I really get those stuck. Let's give this side a check. Don't see any bubbles, that's good. So using the palm of my hand, mostly kind of pressing towards the outside. So bringing it in, but pressing towards from the middle to the edge. So you do want to really spend your time with this, because there's nothing worse than when you leave it to dry and you've got your weights on it. And then you have a look later on and there's bubbles, because there's nothing you can do to fix them. Got a little bit of the glue seeping out. Just give that a wipe. Careful not to do what I did and place that on there. Clean up all your edges. Once you're happy that it's bubble free. And then I would just put down a clean piece of paper or protection on the floor, like a sheet or something. And then I would turn it over, place it down, and then add weights on there. And then leave it for a few hours in actual fact. And so there you go. Hopefully you are able to achieve that. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss out on more videos. Okay, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.